What's going on, guys? This is Berz. I want to talk to you today about the original SOE 2-point sling. This has some bungee to it. It actually has a lot of bungee to it compared to some other slings on the market. It has good 1000D Cordura nylon that's used for most of the rest of it. It's good webbing. The buckles are definitely a lot better than most that are on the market as far as retention goes. And the cool thing it has about it is right here you have this ability to make the sling less. And then you have this little handle here, if you will. You can go ahead and tighten it up. Okay, so then you can tighten it up or loosen it as you need, and you can just tighten it up when you kind of need it more of a dynamic. Go ahead and get it loose and come out and use it. The thing that I like about this 2-point sling from original SOE is it uses relatively good hardware and software. You're using 1000D Cordura. The buckles on here are made of good plastic material, if you will. The buckle on this, which I will show you right now, the buckle right here, which is used, is a good buckle. You'll see some buckles on the market that just takes really not that much pressure to release them. You have to have some pretty decent pressure here to get this to release, which is good. You know, if you're talking with people like Joe Tedeye and other people, a lot of people aren't a huge fan of having this buckle here. Some people are, some people aren't. It's personal preference, really. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do like the fact that this buckle is, you actually have to really push down on it to a degree to get it to engage, which means that you're not going to run that risk of having it fall off. Joe Tedeye mentioned, that one of his teammates, they were fast roping down and it actually came off because of a buckle. And then his gun was not with him anymore. It was on the ground. Luckily that was training though. That kind of scenario happens, and that's one reason why I'm not a huge fan of using buckles on slings. I like just a standard type sling, if you will, kind of like this tactical tailor. It doesn't have any buckle on it. But the thing I like about this is, it's light. It really is light. You have a lot of bungee. Even if it is tight and you have to get your gun out there, you can. Okay. So that bungee really does help in the fact of, in a very dynamic situation, you're going to have that extra stretch. Okay. In a stressful situation, if you need that extra stretch, you're going to get it without having to actually loosen this sling up. So that's the one positive, is there's so much bungee that if you kind of have it like this, you can get it out there and stretch it out. You can see here, it's not stretched yet, but okay, right there it's starting to get tension, and I can really push this out pretty far. Okay, you can see that bungee kind of go. Let me show you here. You're getting a good, let's see here, probably almost a foot of bungee stretch, and that's good if you're in a situation where something happens in a split second and you need to get this gun into the fight, if you will. If you need the extra stretch, you can get your gun into the fight. So that's something I like about it. Like I said, the only thing I really am not a fan of is this huge tail, if you will, on the end where you can adjust it. I mean, you can really adjust it up tight, but then you have this flopping all around. I really like to see them kind of come up with some kind of a way to fix that. The other thing that I really am not a fan of is this handle. It's the same thing I see here with the tactical tailor, where they just have a floppy kind of piece. The Vickers sling actually has a nice handle, and the fact that you can grab that with gloves on, this is really, as you can see, floppy. So I mean, I would really like to see them kind of fix that. May not fix it, kind of upgrade it, update it, if you will, and add some thicker material, stitch it down real nice, and have a nice thick grab handle to use with that. But I'd like to see them kind of shorten that up if they could, or maybe put a device in here where it kind of hooks onto the back here, or onto the bungee. You really don't have to move this slider very much to get it to engage. I'd like to see that kind of tighten down a little bit. I think that actually has to do with the thickness of this nylon that's used in the webbing, and the buckle here, the buckle slider. So maybe a tighter buckle slider or something like that. It really doesn't take much for that to actually disengage and start coming loose. Okay, so that's another thing I noticed. But I mean, if you're looking for a nice USA made, gonna last a really long time, I mean, this is definitely made well. Look no further than this 2-point sling. It's definitely something I like, even though it does have those two minor things that I kind of pointed out. As far as lasting a long time, you can go buy that China shit all day long, but if you want something that's going to last a while and is adaptive, you know, just like this other USA made, you know, tactical tailor sling, you know, this is another great USA made sling option, around the $50 price point, and you know, you're going to get a good piece of gear that's going to last you a while. I'm actually testing out one of their chest rigs at the moment as well, and I'm really liking this. You know, it's not something that is my go-to only because of that long tail. I'm not a huge fan of that long tail, but it's definitely something I wouldn't hesitate if it's what I had. I definitely would not hesitate to throw this on a gun. The other thing I like is the fact that it uses a lighter, kind of thinner material here on the front, and I can run it right through my AK rail here, the little mount here, and I don't have to worry about not getting it in there, not getting it in the hole. I know some of us have problems with that, but you know, if you use this 2-point sling by original SOE, you don't have to worry about getting it in the hole. I haven't noticed any kind of melting problems. You know, I ran, you know, tons of magazines through this gun, and I have not noticed any melting problems with it folded into there. That's one thing that I really, going into it, was worried about, because you know, that definitely gets hot. This mount right here gets hot, and I haven't really even noticed any burning, if you will, on the actual nylon webbing. So that's another positive. One thing I noticed with this compared to other ones is this is actually like a slippery kind of nylon, and when I use it with my my carrier, with my chest rigs, it really doesn't get hung up as much. And also when it rubs against your neck, if you don't run a schma or whatever around your neck, it's not as quick to really irritate your neck. That's definitely something that I'm assuming they thought of when they made this, because the material that's used here compared to some other ones like this tactical tailor is like a smooth, almost a silky material. So, you know, it glides on your gear. So when you're moving this around, when you have a plate carrier on or a chest rig, you know, it definitely slides around on there easier. It doesn't get caught up, and if it does get caught up, it isn't very for long, because it slides around. So, you know, it's one thing I noticed, because, you know, this is the area from here, you know, to this area is where you really can't get to very easily when it comes to having a plate carrier on, chest rig on, etc. You know, that's the area where you're going to have those problems getting hung up. If it gets hung up in this area right here, you have your hand free here to kind of get it, you know, figure that situation out. You know, so this area to down here is where it's nice and smooth. So if you get it hung up on something, it's going to, you know, kind of get taken off of there. It's going to move through that problem relatively easily. I think you can definitely, you know, get yourself a good sling if this is the one you're going to purchase. There's lots of them on the market, but if you're looking for a lot of adjustability, if you're really into that kind of buckle option, if you will, it's definitely one I could say, you know, take a look at when you're looking at purchasing your slings there. So if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. If you have this original SOE sling or any other one, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below, or better yet, make a video about it. And until next time, later. Using 1000D Cordura, using good bungee. It's actually a lot of bungee on this. And did I just say 3 times? What the fuck?